The rope was already round his neck. His face was pale. Sweat rolled down his forehead. His wife screamed, "No, he's a good man." His children were crying, "Daddy, please don't go." But the truth was finally out. Their father was a killer. He had killed a girl many years ago just to hide a secret. And now everyone knew. In a small quiet town called Hill, there was a 17-year-old boy named Dayo. Dayo was smart, he was fast, he was strong, but he was also very sneaky. His uncle was rich, he owned a small shop and kept money in a safe inside his house. One night, while his uncle was away, Dayo crept in with a key he had stolen weeks before. He opened the safe. His eyes grew wide. Money, lots of money. He packed it in a nylon bag and ran into the bush behind the house. He dug a small hole near a big tree and buried it. No one saw him, or so he thought. But hiding behind another tree was a girl, Ada. She had been looking for her cat that ran into the bush, and what she saw shocked her. The next day, Ada found Dayo near the school well. "Dayo," she said quietly, "I saw what you did last night." Dayo froze. His lips shook. "Saw what?" "You stole from your uncle. I saw you bury the money." She wasn't trying to hurt him. She wanted to help. "You should return it," Ada said softly. "If someone finds out, you'll go to jail." But Dayo's fears took over. He imagined himself in handcuffs. He imagined people laughing at him. He imagined his mother crying. His heart pounded. "No," he whispered. "You can't tell anyone." "I have to," Ada replied. "It's wrong, and I will." Before she could finish, Dayo pushed her. She fell and hit her head on the rock. "Ada," he screamed, but she wasn't moving. Her eyes were open, but still. Dayo had just ended her life. Panicked Dayo dragged Ada's body deeper in the bush. He found the same spot where he buried the money. He dug again. His hands were shaking. Tears ran down his face. He placed Ada's body next to the bag. "I'm sorry," he whispered over and over again. He covered the hole with leaves, sticks, and dirt. He ran home. He threw away his bloody shirts. He washed his hands until they were red. But no matter how hard he scrubbed, he felt dirty. That night, he dreamt of Ada. She stood in the bush. Her eyes were red. She pointed at him and said, "You can't hide forever." The next day, people started looking for Ada. She was last seen by the school. Maybe she traveled. "No, she wouldn't go without telling me," her mother cried. The town searched for a week, but they found nothing. No blood, no bag, no body. Dayo pretended to search too. He even hugged Ada's mother and said, "I hope she comes back." Inside his heart was breaking, but he said nothing. Time moved on. Dayo finished school. He left Hill and went to a city. He got a good job. He met a kind woman named Fumi and they got married. They had 3 children. People called him Sir, Uncle, or Boss. But every night, Dayo still saw Ada in his dream. Sometimes she screamed. Sometimes she cried. Sometimes she would say, "I trusted you." But in the daytime, Dayo smiled and acted like nothing happened. He built a house. He bought a car. He took his family to church. Everyone thought he was a great man, but his secret was still hiding. 20 years later, Iwanhin was no longer a small town. People wanted a new road. Big truck came, digger, shovels, And then one day, a worker shouted, "Boss, come! There is something here." They had found bones, a skull, a shoe, and a school ID card. It was dirty, but the name was clear: Ada Okafor. Everyone stopped. Old people remembered her. "You mean Ada who disappeared 20 years ago?" "Yes, this must be her." Police came from the city. They asked the old classmates. One boy said, "Ada told me once that she saw Dayo doing something in the bush." Another girl replied. They argued the day she disappeared. The police found Dayo. He now lived far away with his family. They called him for questioning. He laughed nervously. "Me? I was a child. I don't know anything." His voice were cracking. He was so scared. He asked for water 3 times, but they refused to give him water. The police pressed harder, and finally, Dayo broke down. "I didn't mean to kill her," he cried. "I was scared. I just wanted to shut her up." He confessed everything that happened that day. News spread like wildfire. Dayo killed Ada. Her ghost must have brought justice. His wife fainted. His children cried. People who once loved Dayo now spit when they heard his name. He was charged to court. At the trial, Ada's mother stood and said, "You killed my only child. For what?" Dayo wept and begged, "Please, forgive me." But the law was clear. He was sentenced to death by hanging. The day of the hanging came. People gathered to watch. Some wanted justice, some wanted revenge. His wife held his hand and whispered, "Why didn't you tell me?" His children hugged him and screamed, "We don't want you to die." But Dayo walked to the rope. He looked at the sky and said, "I thought I could bury my sin, but the truth always grows back." To anyone out there hiding something, please speak before it's too late. I lost everything. The hangman pulled the rope, and silence fell. Even though Dayo was gone, peace didn't return right away. His wife, Fumi, was left alone with 3 children, Tolu, Mirabe, and little Josh. People pointed fingers at them. They are the family of the killer. Some people even stopped buying things from Fumi's small shop. The children were chased from school. Tolu got in a fight when a classmate shouted, "Your father is a murderer." Fumi sat in her room at night crying. She heard Dayo's last photo. "I never knew the man I married," she whispered. 1 month after Dayo's death, something strange happened in Irohin. It rained heavily for days. The big tree near where Ada was buried cracked in half. Children who played nearby ran home screaming. One of them said, "I saw a girl standing in the bush. She was crying." Another whispered, "She called my name." Soon people started saying, "Ada's spirit is still here." One day, Ada's mother, Mama Nkechi, walked into the bush alone. She went to the place where her daughter's bone had been found. She knelt down and prayed, "Ada, my sweet child, I miss you every day, but I forgive Dayo. Not for him, but for me and for you." Rest now, my daughter. Rest in peace. That night, for the first time in 20 years, she slept like a baby. No dreams, no nightmare, just peace. Tolu, Dayo's oldest son, was 16 when his father died. He was angry, confused, and ashamed. One day, while searching the attic, he found an old brown notebook. It was Dayo's journal. Page after page, Tolu read everything. The money theft, the fear, the fight with Ada, the guilt that lasted for years. At the end of the journal, his father wrote, "If anyone ever finds this, don't hide your mistakes. Don't let fear turn you into a monster. I love my family, but I was never free. Truth is the only path to peace." Tolu cried, but something changed inside him. He wiped his face and said, "I'll make things right. I'll tell our story." Tolu started writing. He wrote about his father's mistake. He wrote about Ada's kindness. He wrote about what fear can do when it controls you. Years later, he turned that story into a book. It was titled Buried Truth: The Day I Found My Father's Secret. The book became popular. School used it to teach children about choices, fear, and forgiveness. Tolu stood in front of a big crowd, reading the story of Ada and Dayo, his father. And one day, in the same town where it all began, a statue of Ada Okafor was placed under the tree that once stood tall. Below the statue was a "She spoke the truth and never stopped speaking." Dayo tried to hide a terrible thing, but truth is like a seed. Even if you bury it, it grows. It pushes you through death, time, and silence. And when it finally comes out, it shakes everywhere, but it also teaches, and it frees those who are ready to listen. Tolu was now 24 years old. He had written the book. He traveled to schools, churches, and even prisons to speak. But inside, there was still a quiet war inside him. Everywhere he went, people said, "That's the boy whose father was hanged." No matter what he achieved, no matter how kind he was, the name Dayo followed him like a long shadow. One night, as Tolu walked alone through Iron Hill, he passed the place where his father was hanged. The wooden frame was still there, now old, rotten, and falling apart. He stood there for a long time. Then he asked out loud, "Dad, why didn't you just confess? Why did you wait so long?" Suddenly, an old man walked by. It was Baba Sam, a retired police officer who had helped on the Ada case. He looked at Tolu and said, "Fear, that's what destroyed many men. But you have something your father didn't have." "What's that?" Tolu asked. "Courage to face the truth early," the man said. 1 week later, Fumi gave him an old envelope. "I never gave you this," she said, "but your father wrote it in prison before he died." Tolu opened the letter with shaking hands. It read, "My son, you were only a child when I left. I don't deserve your forgiveness. But if you carry my name, carry it with truth. I killed a girl. I broke many hearts, but I loved you, even with my broken hand. Keep speaking, keep writing. If Ada's voice died, maybe yours can keep her alive. Your father, Dayo." Tolu cried, and then he made a decision. He would do one last thing to make peace with the past. Tolu saved up money. He asked the town leader for permission. And months later, something new was built in Hill. Not just a statue, but a small building called the House of Truth. Inside, people could read Ada's story. They could read about Dayo's crime. There were pictures, letters, and even a copy of Dayo's confession in his own handwriting. Children came on school trips. Mothers came to cry and remember. Fathers brought their sons and whispered, "Don't ever let fear control you." Iwohin began to change. It became known as a place of truth and healing. People came from other towns to learn from what happened there. And Tolu, he became a teacher. But not just of books. He taught life. He taught his students, truth may hurt, but lies destroy. His sister Mirabe became a lawyer to protect the innocent. His little brother Josh grew up and became a police officer to find the truth no matter what. One afternoon, while sweeping in front of the House of Truth, Tolu saw an old woman walking slowly towards the gate. It was Mama Nkechi, Ada's mother. She was now grey and thin, but still had strong eyes. They sat together in the garden behind the memorial. She looked at Tolu and said, "Your father did a terrible thing, but your family turned that pain into purpose. Ada would be proud of you." Tolu held her hand, and for the first time in many years, both of them smiled. Truly smiled. If you're still watching, you now know the full story. A boy who made a deadly mistake. A woman who forgave the unforgivable. A son who turned shame into strength. This is not just a story. It's a warning, a lesson, and a light. What would you do if you carried your parents' dark secrets? Like this video, subscribe to Tales by Tracy. Hit the bell because more powerful stories are coming.